Kevin, we are live, and I'll be staying here for 5 to 10 minutes for support.
Okay, thanks. Claudia.
Hey there.
Hey, Carol Sue.
Hello.
Hey.
Hello, everyone.
Hey, Felice.
Hi, everyone.
I've been with you all day, Kevin.
This is my fourth class today.
Huh?
This is my fourth class today.
Wow.
Yeah. Oh. But learn from everyone.
Yes, yes. We'll get started here in a few minutes.
July 23rd. Oh, I thought it was June. Okay.
Is that Pamela? You're on mute, Pamela. Hey.
Hello, how are you?
I'm guessing your name is Pamela, right? Based on your email? Yeah.
Yes.
Good. I like your glasses. Those are cool.
Thank you.
We'll get rolling here in a few minutes. Give some people some chances to jump on here. It's Wednesday, huh? Wow.
Oh, yeah.
Why does time go faster the older you get? Why does it work that way?
I don't know. Fourth class today, you said?
My fourth class, yes.
Wow. So this should be really good then. Fourth
This
time.
should, yeah. Well, not the same. They're all four different classes.
Oh, 4 different classes. Okay. Got
It'd be tough to do the same one 4 times in a day. That'd be tough. Yep. Now this is a new class, so you guys are in on the new class.
Oh, wow. Great.
Yeah. We have a lot of new classes all the time, so it's a new one. Pamela, have you been taking classes for a while? Get set up?
I just started about a month ago.
Okay, good. Welcome.
Thank you.
The other 3 learners on here I'm familiar with. We've taken lots of classes together. We've done a lot.
Okay, great.
Yeah, welcome, welcome. What type of classes have you been taking? What subject?
I took a grant writing class.
Okay.
I took I think something about the internet and one other class I taken. There's a couple of classes just pretty much starting.
Good,
I
good.
got a lot. I'm kind of busy, so I'm doing a little bit on a lot of Zoom classes and exercise classes and all of that, trying to stay
Nice.
busy.
Good, good. Excellent. What state are you in?
I'm in Maryland.
Maryland. Okay, good,
Mhm.
good. All right. Wait 1 more minute and we'll get going here.
Okay.
You guys are in for a treat because Claudia is going to be my guest in this class. I'm going to do a little interview with her and let her share some things too. So
Great.
we engage with our community a little bit more.
That's great.
Yes, I'm the guinea pig tonight.
You're a guinea pig. Harry's our TA support. If you guys need any help, he's there. You can chat with him. Felice is saying hello to Harry.
Oh my goodness. Calling me out. Okay. But everyone can see it, so okay.
Being nice. You're being nice. That's great. You're always positive and full of energy. It's good.
I try to be.
Yeah.
But sometimes things get in the way.
Things get in the way.
Yeah.
Sometimes life happens. It's tough. Yeah.
That's a good way to put it. Yeah.
Life happens. All right. Well, we can get going here. So this is, it's always fun to do a new class. This one's how to network for results. So this is a very important piece. I do quite a bit of coaching and life and career coaching as well. And I cannot stress enough to people how important this part is to not just your professional career, but also your personal life. And I'll work with kind of teenagers sometimes, and I'll tell them how important it is that they invest in relationships. And inevitably, there's one in the group that says, I don't do people. And I'm thinking, oh, boy or girl, life's going to be hard for you. If you, at this age, decide you can't do people, you're not going to make it very far because we need each other. We need people to help us along the way. And I get it. I mean, some people have been hurt so bad by people, they just don't trust anybody, right? It's just, they've had enough trauma of not being able to trust people. I get that. And I have the belief that there are really 2 kinds of people in our life. There are helpers and haters. The helpers are the ones that kind of cheer for us. There are cheerleaders and support us and love us and want to help us. And then there's the haters. And the haters come on all different levels, from sarcastic humor that they use to hurt us to just flat out trying to hurt us. And those are the ones we got to stay away from. So I understand why some people struggle with that, but there is enough helpers out there that we do our work, we can find them, and life is better with them. Hey, Kathy, welcome. Good to see you. Good to see you. All right, so we're talking about how to network for results. The old school version of networking was get a stack of business cards, go to a meeting, hand them out, and see how many cards you can hand out and how many you could collect. Well, you could do that, but that doesn't do a whole lot, really. It's something, but it's not really effective. It's not really results oriented. Before we let me hit a couple more slides here. I'm in Tampa, Florida, and I live where it's sunny and it's hot and there's the water here. I love that. I've been here about 20 years. Lived in Michigan, Illinois, Ohio, and Georgia growing up. My dad was in sales and moved around a lot. When I became an adult, I realized I could probably live anywhere I wanted to. And so I landed in Florida and kind of stayed here. I love to learn. I love to help other people learn. Learning should be fun, and it's more fun to do together. That's why Get Set Up so great, because we could do it live together. So one of the things that we value a lot is each of you as learners. And as we teach these classes, we want to let the learners be engaged a little bit as well. So thank you for having your cameras on if you can and engaging in the conversations, which you all do so well. But tonight in this class, we have Claudia Cream. Claudia's been a learner in many of my classes, and I tapped her on the shoulder and said, hey, can you share a little bit in one of the classes? And so here we are. So you guys get to hear a little bit from her. And, so Claudia, let me just ask you a few questions. Tell us where you live and how long you've been using Get Set Up.
I live in New Jersey, which is very warm today. I found out about Get Set Up, of course, during COVID, and probably around January. And I am hooked. If I had known about Setup years ago, I would not have paid for workshops that give me this information. It would have cut my learning curve. I would not have to be in workshops with 300, 400 people. So I love it. I love it. It's targeted information that you can get and digest. So I just love the classes.
Awesome.
And Kevin, you're an excellent teacher.
Well, thank you. Thank you. You have a business that you do, and tell us what that is, just kind of what your business is and how long you've been doing that, just to get started.
All right, when people ask me about my business, I tell them I'm a facilitator of dreams and memories. I help individuals and I connect families together, and I do this so you can have fun. So I'm a professional travel concierge. That was Kevin's word, concierge.
I love it.
I launched my business a couple years ago. But what I'm learning from Get Set Up, I'm relaunching my business because I'm learning so much more. So I can apply, I can redesign it and launch it all over again.
Excellent. And so tonight we're talking about networking. Can you share a little bit about maybe things you've done in the past to help network and get the word out about what you do?
Okay, well, the first is always word of mouth with family and friends. And from family and friends, I would get referrals. I like the personal touch. I also join chambers and various groups that I can go and sit down personally, like women's groups, so forth and so on. I also, and which I'll be doing again, if there's an event, I will go and set up my table, my business table at an event. If I go into locations that allow you to put your business cards out, I put my business cards out in restaurants, CVS tacking on their walls, in the Chinese restaurant, wherever I can get the information out. And with our church, we have a business spotlight since we've been in for COVID and everything is virtual. So my business runs on our church website during the ceremony.
Oh, wow.
Also, we have a community newspaper, and I put an ad in the community newspaper, a little article. But I like the face-to-face. And of course, now, since I've learned about social media, I'm trying to do on social media. But those are some of the things that I've done.
So, I mean, is it hard for you to go introduce yourself to people, or is that something natural for you?
Well, I tell people I'm a introvert, but they don't believe me. But it's all about, if you believe in what you're doing, you can not force yourself, but it becomes comfortable to share because you're sharing something that you love. And I love travel, so I'm able to share travel, and they can pick up my enthusiasm, my excitement, because it's something that I love to do.
Right. Do you have a pitch or a line that you give to people, like to kind of get them start the conversation?
Oh, sure. I always say, Ask me how you can worry less, live more, and have fun.
Right, and that gets them curious, right? Like, what do you have
Yes.
to offer me, right? Yeah, good.
Yes.
Good, excellent. Yeah, I think you bring up a great point. I mean, we the hardest things for us to do in life are the things that we don't understand, we don't believe in them, you know, they're stupid to us. Like, those are the things that are really hard to do. And if you really believe in what you're doing, it becomes a little more natural to you. I think that's a great point. Yeah, right. It doesn't feel forced then, it's more natural in that sense. Right. Good, good. Any of you guys have questions for her?
It certainly sounds like you're covering an awful lot of bases. I used to be a healthcare recruiter, and I just look forward to job fair season so much because I could get out there and market and talk to people, and was never more elated about my job as when I came back from one of those events.
Oh, wow.
I shouldn't have been in office recruiting. I should have been out marketing.
Right, right.
Yeah, yep, yep.
Oh, and Kevin, yesterday I did my first Zoom
Did you?
travel party.
How'd it go?
It went very well. It went very well. I put together a PowerPoint presentation. I had about 30 women on the Zoom.
Wow.
And they enjoyed it.
Well, very good. Good for you. Were you inspired by Get Set Up to do that?
Yes.
Good, good.
Yes.
Awesome. So will you keep doing that? I mean, that's now that you've done it, right? You can keep doing that. It's easier to do now that you've done it.
Yes. Yes.
Right, right. And were those ladies, were they all over the area? Were they local? Where were they from?
It was a group, Golden Girls group. So it's a local group. And they asked me to do a travel presentation.
Okay.
So I did the slides. We had fun.
Good.
Interact. So it went very well. I put together, it was about 20 slides.
Yeah, good. Well, way to go. That's awesome. That's awesome. So you're learning and applying it and finding new ways, because you wouldn't have been able to meet with those ladies probably for still.
No.
I don't think your state's letting you guys do all that yet, right? Yeah.
No.
Right.
Oh, I have a tip for everybody. I always give out 2 business cards
Okay.
so that the person I'm giving it to has one. And if they get asked about it, then they have one to pass on.
Oh, that's good, right? And you tell them that too. I'm
So,
giving.
overbearing.
Yeah.
Oh, I gave you 2.
Give one away, right? Very good.
And that reminds me, I package masks with my business card. And if I'm out in the store, I give them out and say, it'll be safe to travel soon. When
Oh,
you
that's clever.
call me.
Yeah, that's good. Clever. See, that's memorable. I like that, right? I mean, part of networking is being memorable, so people don't forget you real fast. And you do something like that, that's memorable. Good, good, excellent. Well, thanks, Claudia. Anybody else have anything they want to ask or add? All right, Claudia, great job. Thank you so much. I may ask you some more questions as we go along, but thanks for getting us started here. All right. Jump back in here. You guys know you can get a recording if you email help@getsetup if you want. All right, so here's what I want to cover. The importance of networking, what it is, my networking formula, some skills, tools, and strategies, and then some networking groups, and then there's a personalization part at the end I want to cover at the end. All right, so I think this, as I said at the beginning of the class, this is one of the most important things, not just professionally, but personally as well. To intentionally broaden and maintain your network is one of the most important steps a person can take to increase the chances of their success. Too many people want to just sit back and wait for things to come to them. That's not how it works. I wish it was that easy. You see a lot of people who, I call it, when they're looking for a job even, they sit on their computer all day and they play, I call it resume roulette. They just try to throw the resumes out to all these places and they think that that's going to get the job. They don't talk to people. They just try to put their name in the hat and hope they get picked. they got a better shot at winning the lottery than they do that. Most people get jobs because of somebody they know, not because of the job listing board. Kathy, sounds like you've been in HR before. Is that right?
About 15 years, yes.
Yes. Okay. Right. I mean, it's a very small percentage of jobs are even listed online. Most jobs are not even ever listed. Most of them are small. People have businesses and they're looking for somebody to find a job, and they find it through somebody they know, not just the automated systems. So this unit, go ahead.
I found that I shouldn't brag, but I had nurses that would follow me from agency to agency.
Yeah.
Because they knew that I would keep them working.
Right.
Healthcare.
Right.
And I think you're marketing constantly.
Right.
I'm a throwback to the newspaper ad era. I had to come up with clever ads every single week.
Oh, wow.
But I'm like Claudia. It didn't matter whether I was at a wedding, whether I was at any place that there were women. I knew there had to be a nurse in the group.
You run the lookout for one, huh?
Yeah, I was always on the lookout.
Right. So you had a mindset that wherever you went, there's people here, and these people, you have something to offer them, and you can help them. And so
yes.
that was your
yes.
mindset, right? Right.
Yeah.
So that motivated you and gave you energy. It sounded like you came alive when you were around people, not when you were stuck at the office having to do stuff. Yeah.
Oh, right.
Yeah. Good.
I like the interviewing part of it because
Right.
I would bond with that person in such a way is if I ask them to do something a little more out of the ordinary,
Yeah.
they might do it for me
Sure.
because now we have a rapport.
Yeah, exactly. So here's
what Claudia was saying about the rapport building.
Yep, that's important. Yeah, we're going to talk about that a little bit. So here's my definition of networking. It's the art of building and maintaining mutually beneficial relationship with others. So there's some pieces in here. This is not just about what you can get. There's an art to it. It's not automatic. Not everybody does it well. You can fine tune this art. You can develop this art. There's a building of it and a maintaining of it. Sometimes people are good at building it, but they don't maintain it, and they lose that network falls apart. The mutually beneficial part of it, it's not just about what you can get, it's about also what you give. There's that rapport that you're talking about there. And it's all about relationships. That's really what it is. It's having relationships with other people. So how do we do this? What are the secrets? What are the ways to do this so that it's effective? Here's my formula for the networking formula. So it's built on relationships. The more relationships you have, the better, because these relationships are built on trust. And this is a big thing I'm really big on with especially younger folks is with every relationship we have, everything we do, we're either building trust or breaking trust. With every relationship, everything we do is either building or breaking trust with that person. Either goes one way or the other. It doesn't kind of stay neutral. And to those relationships that we build trust with, we create the opportunity, we create the privilege to have an opportunity. Because with relationships of people that trust you, they give you opportunities, right? That's where the opportunities come from. And what we're looking for is these opportunities. Well, shame on us if we think somebody's just going to come tap us on the shoulder if we don't know. That doesn't work that way. It's through somebody who trusts you. And you build trust over time by being trustworthy, by building trust with them. And that's just a simple formula for this, but it's hard to do, right? It's easier said than done, like many things in life. But building relationships that have trust lead us to more opportunities to do things. My successes are not just based on what I've done. They're based on the relationships I've had with people and the opportunities people have given me because they've trusted me, and then been able to come through for them so that they continue to give me more opportunities or introduce me to the opportunity to meet other people who I can build trust with, and then they give me more opportunities, right? That's kind of how it works. And so it's very much about a relational thing and how well we relate to other people in that. struggled. I love the business model of multi-level marketing ideas, right? Where you have people below you and they sell, and there's this residual income. So you don't have to do all the work, like other people do work, and you get to make the money. I mean, insurance is kind of like that, right? You sell a policy and then people just keep renewing it. That's residual income too. I like that idea, but what I didn't like about multi-level marketing type schemes was that everywhere I went, I had to be selling that. I didn't want to be that guy to everybody. I had trouble with that. I didn't want my relationship just to be that, right? I felt like that would compromise my trust with them, because I think all I want to do was to sell them something all the time, like everybody. And who did I hit? I hit all my friends and family, and I didn't want that for them. I wanted to have a different relationship with them. And I want to be consistent and genuine as a person. And so for me, it was important that I do things that I really believe in. As Claudia was saying, if you really believe in it, if you're passionate about it, it makes it much easier to share with other people what you're doing and build that trust, and then and have those opportunities. So this is just a really big thing. Now, I have added on to a famous cliche in life. The cliche, it's not what you know as much as it is who you know, right? And in the day and age of social media, it's very possible to know a lot of people who do not know you in return. So you don't really have a relationship, right? I could have all these people I follow, and they don't all follow me back on social media. So I can't really call them really people that I know or who I know. So my definition of this is, it's not what you know, it's not who you know, it's who knows you. That means, and that implies there's a relationship there, right? And so now you have built, there's a level of trust, and there's a connectivity there. There's a camaraderie, if you will. And in that, then you have people who can help you and give you opportunities to do things. These become helpers to you in life. So I think that's takes it to the next level. It's not just how many people can I give my card to, it's how many people can I develop a relationship with. And the more you give cards to, the more you can build a relationship with. So it all builds on top of itself. But that's kind of how I look at it that way. Alma, welcome. Thanks for joining us. All right. Let's talk about some networking skills. I think some of the most important networking skills, because this is so relationship driven, are our soft skills. Our soft skills fall in many categories, but to the two biggest ones of this is how well we can communicate and how well we can collaborate with others. Communication, right? How well can we speak? Do people listen to us? Do we listen to them? Or are we just about having ourselves be heard all the time and not listening to them? How well can we have rapport with somebody through communicating with them? Obviously, there's verbal, nonverbal, all types of communication that goes into that. It's a really big category, but it's a very important one as it relates to networking skills. There's people that I've heard talk like, I don't even want to be around them. They're annoying to listen to. Like, they're just kind of repelled by them, not drawn to them. And there's other people that I would just kind of listen to anything they had to say, right? There's those kind of people that communicate too. The collaboration piece involves a lot, but it's a skill that's really important. It's the understanding that I think it involves humility. I think it involves empathy. I think it involves some compassion. It's being able to work well with other people, to connect with them so that you can have a give and take and you can learn from each other and collaborate with them. It's not the idea that I know everything and everybody else is dumb. It's more, hey, we can do this together better than we can by ourselves. And you've talked to people before where somebody just comes off as a know-it-all right off the bat. You're like, this person only wants one thing, and they if I can't do it for them, they're going to move on, right? They're just looking for somebody just to give them something. So these are really important soft skills that sadly, a lot of people don't have these skills. They just struggle with these two things. They can't share how they feel. They can't ask good questions. They can't engage verbally with that. So Claudia, when I asked her, did she have her kind of pitch line or something like that ready to go? And that's a great way, right? It was very memorable. And that was a good way to communicate, to kind of start a conversation. If you can't start a conversation, you're probably never going to ever connect with anybody. Somebody's got to be brave enough to start the conversation and get it going. And that's a soft skill of communication and collaboration. Any thoughts, comments on this? All right.
Yes, you make a good point, because people will gravitate to you, do business with you. And I heard this in one of the classes I paid all that money, if they know, like, and trust you.
Right.
So if they know, like, and trust you, and you mentioned working with young people, and I work with young people also, and I say to them, you do not have to be a A++ student, but if people know you, you know how to treat people,
Right.
they will give you an opportunity.
That's right.
So that goes along with this.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Good word. So we all have a personal brand, right? We all have who we are. And when we are talking about connecting with people in a relationship, we're presenting ourselves to them. And are we known, liked, and what was the other term? Known, liked, and trusted. Yeah, trusted.
Know, like, and trust you.
It goes back to my trust thing. Yeah. And so is who we are, is how we come across, is how we present ourselves, our personal brand. Does it accomplish that? If it doesn't, then we have a hard time connecting with people. So that's our smile, right? Do people see us smile? Or are we never smiling, right? Like, well, that person looks like they're mad, or people make up their own stories, right? They don't know what's going on. And so they see somebody who's kind of frowning or something, or not smiling, like, oh, that person must be too serious, or that person doesn't like me, or, they come up with all kinds of crazy stuff. So our smile is really important. Our attitude, whether it's real or perceived, we judge each other really quick, and we come up with well, that person's attitude is good or bad, right? We kind of do that. People judge the book by the cover all the time. Our appearance, how we dress, how we put ourselves together, how we groom, those are all things that are either building or breaking things down in a relationship. And those are important. Our tone, that's one I've gotten in trouble with before. I've said right things in the wrong way many times, and it's damaging. You can be dead right, but dead wrong in the way you say it, and really cause a lot of trouble with that. So the tone is important. Our reputation is our brand, right? What we've done in the past does matter, because that kind of stays with us as we move around, and people know that reputation. Just like Kathy was saying, these nurses would follow her around because she had a reputation that she would get them a job. So, like, I'm going with Kathy. Kathy's moved around. I'm going with her. She'll find me a job. That's a good point to your reputation. Our resume is part of our brand. Our email address. This quick story on this. I was at a networking event, and this lady was presenting her business, and it was a great business that she was doing. I connected with her on the business. But up on the screen or the board that she was presenting to the class or the group, she had her email address, and it had a curse word in it, part of the email address. And I was so put off by it, thinking, it was a Gmail address. It wasn't, it was just, let me say, like, it's nasty girl, 257. It was worse, much worse than that, but something like that, right? And that was the email she's putting out there for us to kind of connect with for business. And I'm like, you lost me right there. No, thank you. If you can't pay attention to that and understand that some people might be put off by that, then I'm not your person, right? I'm not going to connect with you. Now, if she's going for the vulgar and the people that really like that, okay, that's fine. But that really wasn't the crowd that was there to that day. Emails are free. Just go get a different one. You don't have to have the gross one that's out there. So and then our social media footprint. Being older, we don't have as much of that out there maybe as the younger people, but the younger people, they don't understand that everything they're putting out there is pretty much public, and it's going to catch up with them when they try to get a job or they try to connect with somebody. A lot of that can hurt them if they're not being careful with that. So because we have the ability now to kind of check on people when we meet them, and go back online and search their history a little bit and figure out about who they are and what does that story tell about who that person is. So that's their brand. That's really important. We're fortunate we didn't all grow up with that, so we don't have as much out there. It's funny, I talked to my wife, will say, I'm so glad we didn't have social media when I was in high school, because it would be bad. She said, so it's good that some people don't have that out there, but that's some keys to connecting. I think, just real practically, how do you connect with people? Just be curious about people. People love to talk about themselves. Ask them thoughtful questions about themselves. Don't just walk up and talk about yourself. Ask them about them. And then I think one of those soft skills in communication is listening for cues and clues. Like, what are the things they're saying that you can pick up on, so that you can keep talking about them, not so that you can just jump over and start talking about yourself. They would much rather talk about themselves than they will talk about you. So if you can keep cueing in and cluing in to what they're talking about, then you can keep building the conversation. Stay engaged. Don't make it easy and comfortable for them to talk. Don't make them carry the whole conversation, but don't do all the talking either, right? Be interesting, be respectful. These are all things that are keys to connecting with people. They're soft skills, but a lot of people don't have these. Again, you look at the younger generations, they've grown up with a screen and with their phone. And so they don't have to verbally do this face to face, so they're not really good at it. That's going to hurt them, I think, later in life if they don't figure out how to do that. These are the things that help people connect together and really build those relationships that create opportunities. All right, some tools. We have lots of networking tools now, lots and lots of tools. So as Claudia said, there's social media now, which allows you to get out there and communicate with a lot more people than we used to. We used to have their address or their phone number or be in the physical same location as somebody, and we couldn't network with them. But now people have all kinds of means to be able to communicate with them and connect with them. So social media, right? Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, LinkedIn, all of those things. Email, obviously we can send an email now. I use email to ask people for meetings. And I use email to introduce other people, mutual people together. And I'll ask people that I know to introduce me to one of their colleagues through an email, right? So we don't have to get in the same place. Say, hey, John, can you introduce me to your friend Bob? Because we have some things we're working on that we might be able to collaborate together. So John sends an email to Bob and I both, hey, Bob, Kevin, I want you to meet each other. You know, I'm big fans of both of these guys. I hand it off to you guys. And now I've got an email address of the guy I want to meet with. And then now I start reaching out to him and sending him emails saying, hey, can we get together for a phone call? Can we have a phone call or a Zoom call or, get together for lunch or whatever the case may be, and use that. Texting, you can do that as well if that's appropriate in that case. That's there. Phone calls. Seems like old school to use a phone anymore, but that's still a good way to make a phone call. Pick up the phone and call if you can get a hold of them. It's really hard sometimes to get a hold of somebody who doesn't know who you are, right? I don't answer phone calls to people I don't know who's calling. So that's really hard to do. So when we get introduced by somebody else, that's a much better introduction than a cold call. Letters, I mean, you can still send a handwritten note is so powerful these days. It sets you apart because people don't do it. You take the time to scratch out a little note, make it legible. My handwriting's horrible, so that makes it hard for me, but it still means something when you handwrite a note and you send it to somebody that gets their attention. Newsletters, right? We use newsletters to communicate with people and stay in touch. That's a good way to maintain relationships, to stay in front of them so that they don't forget about you. If you write blog posts, you can do that. You can go to other people's pages or sites or articles and comment there and get noticed in their comments for other people's articles or social media. Videos you can create a video and put it out. You can share content. This is helpful because one of the things about networking, right, is it's mutually beneficial, meaning that it's not just what you're getting, but what value do you bring to the other person? And if you think about that and you come across an article or some content that you think would benefit somebody else and you share that with them with an email or a text message or something like that, then it's not something you had to create. You're just something you're sharing with them. It shows a couple of things. It shows that you care about them because you thought of them enough to send it to them, and you're adding value to whatever they're doing because what you sent them is relevant to what's important to them. So that's a simple way to kind of stay connected to people and stay in front of them that way. And then, of course, you can join groups and go to events. And we'll talk about this a little bit, too. This is where you get face-to-face with people. So the other ones are all kind of digital and non-face-to-face. But the groups and events is when you get out face-to-face with people and do that. There's no better connection than face-to-face. but these other ones are ways to kind of build up to that. Any other tools you can think of that I didn't include on the list? A lot more available to us than there used to be, right? in some ways, it could be overwhelming. Like, I can't do all of that. Well, don't try to do all of it. Just do the ones you're best at. Do the ones you're good at. The ones that are most effective with the people you're connecting with. All right. So here's some networking groups. I'll send you this so you don't have to try to jot it all down. I think Claudia mentioned the chamber, right? You did some work with the chamber. Most communities have a chamber. They're all different. Some are better than others, but the chambers have groups that you can go, and they have events that you can go attend and meet people. And often like-minded people. A lot of small business people will be at chamber meetings. Community people will be there. They're a great way to connect with people, and they're pretty good at introducing you to other people. LinkedIn, of course, is it's the business of Facebook. It's not Facebook. It's the social media for business. And there's ways to go on LinkedIn and join groups on there as well. People in the same industry that you're in. You can join those groups. You can comment. You can reach out to people on that as well. You can go into Facebook groups and search for different areas, topics, industries that you're in, and look for groups there and join that conversation as well. SCORE is got some great services available. It's a service corps of retired executives. They can provide some good guidance and networking there. The local Rotary clubs have events as well that you can participate in and connect with people. BNI, or Business Network International, anybody been a part of that before? So what these...
I went to one of their meetings and it wasn't for me.
Wasn't for you, yeah. BNI is one of the bigger versions of this, where you have this kind of association of network people. They're geographically set up. So like in your community or your city, they would have a group, and some of them are free. Some of them you have to pay to get into. And they would typically have one or two people for each industry that can be in there. So let's say Claudia represented travel in her group. There could only be she's the only one that could do travel, or maybe they might have one other person, but that's it. There couldn't be anybody else in the group that was doing travel. And then the idea is that everybody else in the group, whenever they needed travel, they would refer all their work and all their friends to Claudia for travel. And that's kind of how it works. So they would limit to that. So, but there's the bankers in there, the landscaping guys in there, the roofing people are in there, the mortgage people, the realtors, everybody's, HR people, they're all in there. So that's what those are. And then Meetup, Meetup's an online tool to be able to find people with similar affinities. And so you can find meetup groups locally around your area where people are like-minded, and you could go join those. Those are free, usually free or free events. Sometimes they're paid events. You could even promote your event. Like Claudia could put her travel Zoom meeting out there at a meetup, as a meetup, and people could sign up and join her for that through Meetup if you wanted to. But it would be under the classification of travel and that kind of thing, and people could find her and do that. And being, because you could serve somebody anywhere, right, Claudia? They don't have to be local, do they? Or do they have to be local? Yeah, right. So with the technology, you can have somebody from anywhere. Your pool of people is really large that you could really market to in that sense. Yeah. All right, so those are all some things there. So here's what I want to kind of finish up with, and that's this idea of how to personalize this. So I think it's important that everybody kind of personalize a networking plan for themselves. The first step is to intentionally connect with others, and this goes back to kind of where we started, where this might be the hardest step for some people. Like if you're really shy, if you really, don't believe in what you're trying to what you have to offer or you're trying to accomplish, that makes it really hard to connect with other people. If you believe in it, then it could become a little more natural. But there's a live component, and then there's an online component, right? There's a lot of tools that you can use online, but if you just do online and never go talk to people face to face, that's tough. It's really tough. but and then being, going live only, you're limited by how many people you can really get around and how often that opportunity opens up. So it needs to be an intentional plan to kind of have to do both, to be out there, putting yourself out there and talking to people live, as well as having some online presence as well. And then the second one is real important, is to follow up, nurture, and maintain those connections. For some people, that's the harder part. It's like, how do you keep those things going? How do you keep those relationships going? And you'll figure out if it's somebody who is a good contact to keep or not. Some people, there's nothing there. You don't need to maintain that relationship forever. That you kind of vet that out and say, okay, nice person, but I don't need to continue to stay in touch with them. That's just kind of an acquaintance. I don't need to build a relationship with them. But the ones that you identify that you really need to build, and they need to keep nurturing it. How do you follow up? Sending an email, just reaching out to them every now and then. There's some people, they'll come to mind and I'll send them a text, say, hey, just thinking of you. How are things going? Right? I woke up. It was this week or last week with this guy I worked with before, years and years ago, who lives in another city. He doesn't even live in my town. But we'd had a relationship together and shared some life together and knew what was going on and had a good bond, and just it's been years and we haven't talked much, and he was really on my. I woke up, he's kind of heavy on my heart, and I reached out to him and said, hey, I hope everything's okay. You're really on my mind today. You have time to talk today? He said, he apologized. He goes, yeah, everything's good. Sorry, I'm causing you any nightmares, but I'm doing okay. But we had about an hour and a half conversation yesterday on the phone. We caught up yesterday and reconnected. So that rekindled that relationship with him, right? And so we reestablished trust, and he's going through some things in his life, and he's like, hey, I don't take a lot of phone calls from the town you live in because I used to live there, and I don't trust people there. But he takes my calls because we have a relationship. And so it's just those kind of things. I've got people that I'll reach out to and they don't respond back. I don't give up on them. I figure they're busy. I'll reach out to them again, right? So it's really nurturing and maintaining those connections that are important. So again, I think if you think about those relationships that are the strongest in your life, definitely nurture those. You don't want those to fall apart because they're so hard to get, right? You've put in blood, sweat, tears, laughter, and crying with these people. You need to continue to have some type of a connection with them. The third one is that adding value to others. How can you add value to other people? I don't ever think about what can I get from other people. I'm always thinking about what can I give to them? What can I give to them? And if you keep thinking that way, if that's your attitude, the opportunities start coming at you then. You're not making them yourself. You're not begging them. They're coming back to you because you've been giving so much to other people. The fourth one's tracking your relationship. Like, how do you keep up with these? At our age, there's just so many of them. There could be a lot of them. There's people that you grew up with as a little kid. There's people you went to middle school with, high school with. If you went to college, you got some of those friends. You've got people from different careers you've had, different jobs you've worked, family friends, extended family friends, friends of family, right? Just clients. There's all kinds of, how do you keep, how would you get in touch with those people? And so whether you have them in a spreadsheet or you have them in your phone under contacts, or you have a free or paid CRM, kind of a contact relationship manager or customer relationship management tool to put them in, where you can keep track of any contacts you have with them, that helps, especially as we get older and there's more of them and our memory's not as good. It's really helpful to have that kind of a tool in place. And then it doesn't stop, right? You can't just, the old story, the guy said, his wife says, you never say you love me anymore. And he says, well, when we got married, I told you I loved you. If it ever changes, I'll let you know. It doesn't work that way, right? That's not good enough. We need to keep connecting with people. We need to keep telling them that we appreciate them and that we value them and they're important to us. So the fifth step is to repeat the first four repeatedly in that sense. So that's my networking stuff. So to get the results, I think you got to kind of think about those different pieces there. And it's work. It's definitely work. It's not easy. It's not automatic. Seems to come easier for some than others, but even those that are really good at it, they are working. It is an effort. Just like any relationship, right? Any good relationship takes work. They're not just given to us. They're not just easy come, easy go. They're work. They get messy. They're hard, and but they're well worth it, because the reward of a good relationship is very rewarding. All right, what questions do you guys have? What comments do you have? What sticking points would you have in this for you? I know it's different for everyone.
I just thought about the part you said about the engaging. I was thinking about a friend that I have, and every time we talk, it's all the whole conversation is all her stuff. She dumps all her stuff on me, and at the end of the conversation, she would be good if she allowed 2 minutes for me to tell her my stuff, but she doesn't even allow 2 minutes, so I don't call her that. I don't call her that often.
Right.
I call people that can say how are you, not just how am I doing, but how are you doing?
Right.
I was thinking how important that is. That's what a friendship is, or networking. Networking is going both ways.
That's right. Good example. Yeah, we all have that person who
yes,
they'll take, but they don't give you anything back.
No.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
This is a very good class.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I was just saying this is a very good class, and it's a lot of reminders of how hard this really is. It's not easy. You have to put a lot into it to get something out.
That's right. Yeah.
It's like a full-time job.
Right. It really is. Yeah. When you think about people who are trying to get a job and they're trying to network, right? But they don't want to do this piece. They want to leave this out. And why aren't I finding a job? Oh, you're not doing the hard work. That's the hard work part of it. And I think if we do it,
and then
we do it continually, like if we're doing these 5 steps all the time, like for years and years and years, it's like compounding interest. It just builds on itself. But if you stop doing it, it'll hurt you, because it's like being in shape. It's so much harder to get in shape than it is to get out of shape. You get out of shape really fast. you can burn bridges really fast.
You need to keep up with your contacts on a regular basis. You have to keep you in front of their minds, and you also have to give them some attention.
Right.
A lot of times, if I hadn't heard from a nurse in a while, I would just call her to say, well, what's going on with you? Why haven't I heard from you? I have all these different jobs that I want you for, but I can't get a hold of you. So, I knew the names of their dogs and their grandkids and all that. But that's the way I work. I hung on to people.
Right.
Retention takes that kind of, it's networking and it's rapport building. So that's all I have to say.
Right.
Along with that, with the networking, and I have found over time, you have to think about the time you put in with people, because you can be loyal and give them information, and as long as you're loyal, they're loyal.
Yeah.
But after that, they take what you give them, and then they'll be loyal to someone else. So you put in, you can groom, and then after a while, and you say, I gave them a lot of time and energy and effort, and then they moved on. They kicked me to the curb.
Right. Yeah, some people do that. Yeah, and we have to be wise and not keep giving them energy, because it's not going to come back, right? And that play, we don't have to hurt them, but we have to be wise enough to say, okay, I need to put that energy somewhere that's going to be more mutual, right? We need to keep in those relationships that are mutual. But you're right, there are people that you give to, and then they're going to just take it and go. But sooner we realize that, the better, right? So we can reallocate the energy somewhere else. And that discourages people, right? That's discouraging when that happens, because you know you have a good heart and you're doing this to help them, and you think that this is a mutual relationship, and they turn out not to be so good, and that hurts. That's hard to kind of pick up the pieces and keep going. But yeah, that's those people that in that hater group that I call them, that are out there, and you know, somehow we got to not take it personal and keep going. That's something on their end that's making them like that. Definitely wasn't you, because you gave them so much, for sure. Felice, Alma, you guys have any thoughts?
No, I'm just taking everything in, and I'm enjoying the conversation, and I'm just giving thought to it. But I'm just listening and taking it in.
Okay.
It's a lot. It's a lot.
It's a lot. Okay.
Yeah, it's not as easy as it appears. Not saying easy, but it's a lot of work in it.
Okay.
And especially up front, but not only just up front, but throughout the process.
Yeah.
You have to really keep working on it.
Right.
You can't drop the ball. And the most important thing, I guess, is that that I've picked up on, that you have a passion about it, because I feel if you don't, then it's not going to work.
Right.
So regardless of what it is, because just like me, if I'm doing something that I really enjoy doing, I can do it for hours and don't realize the hours have passed.
Right.
If I don't enjoy it, it's like, oh my gosh, watching paint dry. You know?
You dread it. Yeah, it's awful.
Yeah. So it's been an enjoyable conversation listening.
Good.
And as I mentioned, I'm a introvert. So what I try to do when I meet people, look at something I can compliment them on, and that gives me courage.
That's good.
So I can find something or anyone I can compliment.
Yeah.
So I try to give a compliment, and then I will start me moving and start a conversation.
That's
Good icebreaker.
Yeah.
Yes.
Right.
You don't seem like an introvert to me.
She said her friends don't believe her, but that's what she is.
I work on me every day. You say you face your fear and grow.
I feel like you have to continue, just like when I was recruiting, I never stopped running ads or trying to do events to keep, I called it keeping people in the pipeline.
Yeah, right.
You have to continuously, and I've seen this with businesses with my friends. Her husband was sick for a period and he's a freelancer, and he wasn't taking care of his pipeline.
Right.
That his business stopped and he had to start making contacts all over again.
Right.
It's a continuous process that you have to keep giving energy to.
Yep.
Otherwise, if you don't, it'll stop.
That's right. Yeah.
I have a question, since all of you are, I guess, business owners. I'm not sure, but at what point do you realize that what you're doing should be more so of a hobby and a passion, but not a job or a career or whatever, a business? Anyone can answer. At what point did you realize, you know what, I enjoy doing this, I have fun, but it's not really something that I want to do long term. It's more so of a hobby.
I started out to travel because I wanted to do my travel for myself instead of pay someone else. And then when others start coming to me and want to travel with me, I said, oh, this is a business, because they're cash ready and I can make some cash. So I started the business. So it's a passionate hobby business.
Okay. That's a good combo.
On the news tonight, and she said the most important thing you need to remember, yes, it could be your passion. Yes, you may want to put a lot of energy to it, but the most important thing you need to think about is who you are selling to and why they want it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, thank you.
And I was going to add one more point. I like to share information, and I like to talk to people. So I'm not an introvert. I'm definitely an extrovert. So I talk to everybody that would talk back to me. My mother used to say I would talk to a dog, but the dog barks back. I'll continue to talk to him. So I like to share information. So when I get information, I just call people and share, or I text them, or I email them. And so mine is not a business. Mine is just something. It's just a life passion that I like, enjoy people. And so I just talk to them and give them information. So that's when I guess you know the difference, when you're not really weren't concerned about money. You're just concerned about giving out whatever you want to give out.
Okay, thank you all. Thank you for the insight. Kevin, you have some insight on that as well?
Yeah, I mean, I have I define a hobby as something you do because you like to do it, and there's no expectation that you do it other than what you put on yourself. At the point it becomes something that you're doing for somebody else, it's no longer a hobby. Now you're doing a job. You're doing work for somebody else, because now you're accountable to somebody besides yourself. At that point, you're doing it not for yourself. That speaks a little bit to what Kathy was saying about, who is it for, right? At that point, you're doing it for somebody else, not just yourself. And that's not bad. It's just a different place where now you have the responsibility. Like Claudia can go travel by herself and not take anybody with her, and she doesn't worry about it. She can do whatever she wants. It doesn't matter. But if somebody's paying her to put together a travel plan, now she's on the hook to do it right and do it, to serve them. That's a job, right? So what makes it exponentially challenging is that some jobs require a lot of commitment and some jobs don't, right? Consulting and working with people, there's a lower threshold there because you can be around people. You don't have to buy a lot of equipment. You don't have to hire a staff and all those kind of things. But if you're making products and selling them, or doing something in retail, or doing food service, that's a whole other level of overhead that now it can't really be a hobby, I don't think, because at that point now you wouldn't buy all that for yourself. You'd be buying that for somebody else. And at that point, it becomes a job.
Yeah, I was, I guess, equating it to the young lady today who did the cookies. She said she enjoyed doing it and everything. That was her passion. And then she turned that into a business. And sometimes I know that I guess I'm not a business person, but I have passions about a lot of things. And I really put it all into everything that I do. I try to, but I can't see myself making it a business.
Yeah.
Because I have consulted with people as far as I think 4 weddings I've assisted with. I basically planned it myself for relatives or friends, which it was fun doing it. And I enjoyed it because they told me, be creative, whatever. And I enjoyed it.
Right.
But I was like, I can't do this as a job. They kept saying, oh, you should do this. You should do this. You're so good at it. In their opinion, I was good at it. But then I enjoyed doing it. And then I thought about it and I was like, I can't do this as a job all the time.
Right.
It's draining, and I'm a person who likes my free time.
Right.
I like my downtime. I respect my personal time. And I'm like, weddings are every June and during the summer and I said, oh, that's year round. Like, no.
Yeah. And you're wise. I mean, at that point, your hobby becomes a burden. It's not even fun anymore. Now you're doing it more than you want for people you don't really care about, just because they called you up and said, hey, I heard you're good at it. Can you take money from me? You're like, I guess so. That's what I do. And now you're like, I wish I wasn't doing this anymore.
Yeah, so I just wanted to hear everyone else's experience because I know Claudia said she enjoyed traveling, and Kathy had her joy, and then I don't know, Pamela had her joy and everything, and you have your joy and so forth. And I mean, I've done a lot of different things, but now I'm trying to branch out to something else, and I just want to hear other people's stories.
For me, one thing that's helped me, because I'm like you in that way, I'm definitely a builder, not a maintainer. I don't like to maintain things. I like to build things. And having my own business as kind of an independent contractor and working as an independent contractor and not as an employee for people, I can kind of pick and choose who I work with. Mm-hmm. It's kind of like Claudia. She can say, I want to work more or I want to work less. I mean, it's like she decides that. Nobody's telling her she's got to do some quota of work. She decides what she gets to do. So if you keep your, if you set yourself up as a business that does something, I mean, you kind of get in some, like if you're an advisor, if you're a consultant, or if you're a teacher, or you're a coach or something like that, then you can pick what kind of jobs you want to take. And you say, I'm not going to work all summer because I don't want to work this summer. Right? I mean, it's your business. You decide what you want to do. So that's a way to kind of get paid for your hobby a little bit without spoiling the hobby, if you will.
Yeah.
If you go all in on the hobby, then that becomes a burden, I think. It's just too much.
But you don't think that'll mess up the clientele? They'll say, okay, you're not going to be available. Why bother? Get someone who's more accessible.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Well, you can get jobs that work for certain periods of time. You agree to those terms.
Okay.
It's not. I mean, I'm not suggesting you go open up retail that says you're open certain hours all the time. If you work for working for yourself in a consultative coaching type role, you control your calendar. I mean, you don't have set hours that you're turning anybody away.
And then I could go on trips with Claudia.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Come on.
I do have a comment about turning your hobby into a business. I did professional calligraphy for a while until I had a bridezilla. And after that, I said, the next bride I did was the last one. But I put that on a type list. This is how much this many is. And if you add any on, it's this many. And that did it. I mean, that's just something to remember. If you have a hobby you love and it's into a business, it might not be the same.
That's right.
Okay, thank you. Thanks.
Yeah.
Good luck to you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right, guys. It's been a fun hour. Claudia, thank you for helping me co-host this, and the rest of you for all of your comments and questions and contributions. I really appreciate it. I'll send out notes to the class if you get a chance to give some feedback, and the feedback, that's always appreciated. And there's a lot of great classes out there. Keep taking them. Keep inviting your friends, and we'll hope to see you again in other classes. All right.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you. Everyone have a safe evening.
You
Night.
too. Take care.
Bye-bye.